BLC Podcast. Is it possible to learn more than one language at a time? Many students wonder about the possibility of learning more than one language at a time. And the answer is yes. Why? For a very simple reason. Our brain has an innate tendency for language. But what does that mean exactly? It means that we are born with the ability to communicate through language. So that means we were not meant to learn just one language. We can learn more than one language at a time. In fact, we can learn several. However, it is a consensus among people that learning other language is something only for enlightened beings, since only people with an amount of normal intelligence have the ability to communicate in multiple languages. However, this article will show that there are several reasons to believe in the possibility of becoming multilingual. Shall we go to them? Our brain, when learning the first language, creates a framework with the vocabulary, syntax, grammar, semantics of the language, etc. This is what happens to children. When we decide to study another language, our brain needs to adapt it to that language and, little by little, it creates shortcuts to separate the first language from the second one, and so on for the other language we decided to study. Thus, contrary to what many people think, when we study a third language, it becomes easier to learn than the second language. Why? Because our brain has already adapted to the second language and created a proper space for its storage. This is because we have what neuroscientists call brain plasticity. In addition, we have two areas in our brain responsible for language: Broca's area and Wernicke's. One responsible for production of language, and another for its reception. This plasticity means that our brain has the innate ability to adapt it to new events, which in this case are the new languages. Each time we decide to learn a new language, it creates new neurons that join to the previous ones, creating a series of new neural connections. These connections, if reinforced through appropriate stimuli for more effective learning, such as the natural process of language acquisition and the use of writing to fix information, will facilitate the process of language acquisition of other languages. Therefore, learning more than one language at a time is perfectly possible and even recommended, since we will try to explore more consistently our innate capacity for language. Not to mention that people who learn more than one language during their lifetime tend to be less likely to develop degenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's and Parkinson's.